Welcome to the News in Motion podcast. Over the next several months leading up to the midterm elections, Gail will focus most of her podcasts on equipping and educating voters and encouraging people to register to vote. Gail is also available to serve as a community speaker on voting and civic engagement. If you are interested in working with her, email Gail at newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com to schedule her today. If you're a candidate and would like to join Gail for a segment or submit your advertisement to be aired for a fee, email newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. Now for today's podcast.
Hey, News in Motion family. This podcast, we have the roles reversed. My name is Lexi Williams, and I'm here to interview the host of News in Motion, the podcast, Gail Dudley. For News in Motion, I am the high school ambassador and sometimes a special guest on the News in Motion show. So, many of you know Gail as the founder, visionary, and host of News in Motion, a weekday news broadcast streamed live. You may also know her as the author of several published books and a women's conference speaker and a facilitator of prayer for ministries around the world. But did you know that Gail is a coach and a consultant in volunteer recruitment, retention, and readiness? Did you know that she teaches media development that includes training journalists and hosts for New Desk? Yes, she is a businesswoman, author, coach, consultant, and strategist, and is the mom of two and the wife to Dr. Kevin Dudley. Today I'm here to interview Gail Dudley so that you can get to know her a little better. Before I do that, Gail has a new book coming out mid-October and pre-orders have begun. We want you to be a part of this exclusive offer. From now until August 3rd, 2022, everyone who pre-orders Inspire will have an opportunity to receive one of four $25 gift cards for gas. So let's get started. Gail, can you tell us about your new book, Inspire?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for reversing the role so that I can sit here and talk with you. This is different being in this seat.
I believe it.
Well, Inspire came from at the end, as you know, at the end of the Monday through Thursday news broadcast, I do an inspirational message. And over the 2 years, actually a little bit more than that now, that we have been doing News in Motion, we noticed that there is a sector of people that will jump on towards the end of the broadcast just to get that message. As you know, News in Motion deals with news as a grassroots media outlet. And some people are just tired of news or they're just simply overwhelmed, but they want that inspirational message, that call to action to get them going. So one day I was sitting back listening to several of the inspirational messages, and I thought, wow, this could be a 365-day devotional. And of course, I've added to it since it's going to be in written form, but it's over 400 pages of the inspirational message. And we've actually gone beyond 365 days. So we added a supplemental section, but it's to inspire people. It's to uplift them. It's to give them a call to action, to take on the day. And just overall to feel good about themselves and to realize who they are and to take hold of that and live into that day with everything that they have, moving beyond negativity, moving beyond any of the struggles or challenges that they may face. Inspire is just that, is to inspire people. There's so much negativity and so much division that we are faced with that it's just something that I cannot part from. There's been times even on News in Motion where I have considered cutting off the inspirational message. And it was like, no, you can't do that. Find something else to cut, find a news story to cut, but keep the inspirational message. So I'm so excited that pre-orders are coming out. They've already started. And since gas prices are so high, although they are coming down some, I said, I will put everyone who pre-ordered the book between now and August the 3rd, and then let Google randomly pick someone. And then those 4 individuals will receive a $25 gift card. So I'm really excited about it.
Yes, yes, we're so excited. That's what we all love here at News in Motion. So much about Miss Gail Dudley. She's always a giver. She's always a giver. So, um, what about the process for News in Motion? Can you tell us about that?
Sure. It started off, as you know, it started off just really a 5 to 7 minute segment during the pandemic. I didn't create it because of the pandemic or just for the pandemic, but I wanted to do something to bring people together, not realizing that it was going to do just that. So, as people began to gather to get the broadcast, it grew to 15 minutes and then to 30 minutes. And sometimes it goes over, as you know, to 45 minutes. But the chat feature has become a family for News Emotion. So, when I'm looking at the script or the process, I'm starting with okay, what are the news headlines? And then I take away those things that people are hearing 24/7 on all the other national networks, except for those things that I think are very important. But then I also put my commentary, which I call relevant commentary, to it, along with that call to action. So when I'm looking at the stories, I'm creating okay, what's happening internationally that we need to know because things that are international also ties into things here in the United States. And then I look at, okay, what about finances? What's happening there? What are we doing when it comes to voting, which you know that's a part of everything. And many of the topics I talk about, and here are the reasons why we must vote to deal with those things. And then I also look for fun things. I noticed you and Isaiah, I sneak in every now and then, although I'm actually on vacation. And I said, oh, they are loving this Black Panther piece. So I started thinking, well, will we do a News in Motion event and have a private screening in November? Can we work this out? And what does that look like? Because the Ready publication, my magazine, we did that for the first Black Panther, and we gave away some serious prizes. So I thought about that. I don't know if that will happen or not. But to bring in the fun aspect of it. So I make it like a storyline. It's like I go from the beginning to the end. And of course, I end with that inspirational message. And then there are times that I say, okay, I'm going to do a workshop. So we do every now and then the Wednesday workshop. And many people know that August we'll go on break because this month was the Young People Takeover, and you and Isaiah took over very well. And then we'll take our break in August, and then we'll come back for a new season on September the 7th. And that is really focused on the midterm elections in September, October, because the election is November the 8th. So we're going to bring different guests on to really help people navigate. We have a supervisor who's a poll worker who's going to talk about the importance of having poll workers. We're going to have different people talk about why they need to be the ones elected into office. And it's not going to be one-sided. We want to hear voices from both sides of the aisle, even in the middle. But the premise has really been to educate people. I say so often when I talk with people, are they following News in Motion? And people will say to me, I'm just so over the news, so I don't listen to anything, not even on television. And I warn people how dangerous that is because you need to find someone that you trust, whether that's me or someone else, who's going to bring you the news without all the propaganda. And I believe we can have the conversation as we do on News in Motion that's fun. But I start by the outline and I build from that outline, and then I take that outline into a story. And there's things I have to cut throughout the news broadcast because I'm watching the time and I realize things are going over. But then the other piece of that is, and the reason why I take off the whole month of August, there's so much news that I find myself researching all the press releases and news articles anywhere from 10, 12, sometimes 15 hours. And I have to find a way to balance my self-care and making sure that I'm not in so deep that I'm losing myself or losing the purpose and the mission of News in Motion.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. So, what do you do for your self care since you're trying to keep a good balance between giving us news and, take care of your family and yourself?
Yes, that's a great question. I don't always win when I come to self-care, but I try to. There's times that I just cut off everything, the television, the radio, everything. And there's times I just sit. I remember in Columbus, Ohio, I guess it was two Sundays ago, it rained all day. And I recall sitting in my sitting room, um, just with the window open, watching the rain, like the blinds open, watching the rain for almost 3 hours. And it was just, I was just still, it was just beautiful. And I was just focused on listening and hearing the rain. And I can really settle myself when need be. There's times I read books. Now, I have a habit of reading books that's probably not necessarily fun. I tend to lean towards some of the political books or some of the leadership books, which ends up being more work. I love a massage. I love a pedicure. I love getting my hair done. I love driving, even during the pandemic when we were all isolated and in quarantine or shut in or whatever you want to call it. I remember getting in my car, just telling my husband, I'm just driving down the street around the neighborhood and I'll be back. I just needed to get out to get some sun and to see something that was different. So I'm really good with that. I love to travel. I love to go to art galleries and things like that. And I'll go by myself. I have no problem eating by myself. I have no problem doing anything like that. But I'm learning more and more to let go and really take care of myself. Even with the young people takeover on News in Motion this week, um, it's been interesting because a part of me says, "You want to go on?" Then I'm like, "No, no, I trust them. I don't need to go on." And so I'll click out. I'll click in, like, "What are you doing?" And I'll click out and I'll just go on about my day. So I think that's good that you have team members that you trust, because it's like, okay, they got it, whatever. And to me, that's self care to be able to walk away as well.
Absolutely, and that's really great for your mental health because we know that's such a big deal during this year after COVID, showing a light against that. So our next question, what about the youth takeover? Why did you decide to do that? Of course, with me and Isaiah being a part of it, it's been such an honor. But like, why did you decide to put in young people takeover for the month of July? They're a little off.
Well, it's interesting because I'm always giving back. I mean, it's a part of me. Even when I try not to give back, I still give back. It's like it's my authentic self. It's just who I am. It's what I do. And I just believe in building up others. And when I was thinking about the fact that you're the News in Motion High School ambassador, I mean, you've been with us from day one. I think you were in middle school at that point. And then Isaiah being a freelancer, working the boards and the media side, behind the scenes on News in Motion. And then there's times that he's popped in. I was sitting there saying, wow, what could that add to the community if we start training up young people? It's like I believe in working myself out of a job, and trust me, the two of you are knocking it out the park. That I'm pretty much working my way out of a job, but I love it because we've had conversations. I send you all things, you check it out, you make sure you have the citations. I mean, we have communication, like a training, if you will, up to that piece, and I wanted people to recognize that it doesn't have to be old heads that are sitting in these seats, and that we can even look at young people, high schoolers, recent high school graduates who can do the job and do it great. I mean, you're knocking the names out of the park. You're putting together your storyline so well, and it's just sitting back thinking, "Wow, this is amazing." And already I'm trying to think about what can I do next to continue to build on that so that we don't just do it in July and it's over. It's like, where do we go from here? So a part of it was selfish. I wanted the two of you to shine. That's the selfish part. The other part of it is I wanted to communicate to the community that we just can't talk about training up young people. We have to let them do it. And I was very comfortable doing it. And it is interesting. I've been seeing some of the comments from some of the viewers who are saying, okay, are you feeding them this information as they're talking? I'm like, no, they're all on their own doing what they're doing. And that says a lot. That says so much. And hopefully we can, News in Motion can connect with different high schools and colleges to keep it going so that we're constantly training and getting interns to do some of this so that they have hands-on experience and not just a classroom setting or training.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, as me and Isaiah always say, we're grateful and thankful for the opportunity to do so. And we think it's a great thing you're giving us young people an opportunity to actually do what all the adults, like you said, say that they want to do is train up the young people. So we're actually getting the opportunity, the two of us little shrimplings here down here just trying to do something. So thank you so much for that. But to your next question, what's a typical day look like for Miss Gail Dudley?
A typical day. Well, I'm up at 4 a.m. when I'm doing the show. And I'm up at 4 a.m. Because I'm looking to see if there's been any breaking news or if the news has changed. And it gives me like at least a good hour, hour and a half to make any changes or additions that I need to. I'm also looking to see if people have given me their permission to use different images because we always need permission to do that. So I'm up at 4 a.m. I also have my prayer and meditation time in there as well. And then I get ready for the show. And I'm in that seat by 10 after 7 each morning because we go live at 7:25 a.m. And then after the show, I'm going through looking at social media to make any tags that I need to make. Look at that cute pup. Any tags that I need to make. And then I also begin looking at, well, what news source are coming out. I have the opportunity to get the press releases from the White House administration. So I'm looking at what's on the docket for the day and if I can jump into any of the virtual press rooms, and I do that. And then it's interesting. I need to do better with eating lunch because I can get so caught up in what's happening in the news cycle that I miss lunch. And I also try, because I work from home, my office is in my home. I try to take a drive, whether that's to the post office or to get something to eat or just take a drive or to go to, of course, to stores like TJ Maxx or Macy's or DSW, do something like that. Always got to get that cup of coffee as well. So I try to do things like that, but then I'm researching. I'm on different calls, webinars, and things to see what's happening. That's my typical Monday through Thursday. Friday is a little bit more relaxed. I try not to get up at 4, but it's like your body just does it anyway. Saturday and Sunday, I really make it family time. So yeah, that's a typical. Some people would say that's boring. And then the other thing I do in between, I coach people as well. As a published author, I've been coaching self-publishing authors on how to publish their books. I've been doing facilitation for the school system on both media relations and civic engagement. So I do that as well. And then my parents are older. Both of them are 86. My mom happens to be bedridden, and my dad is not in the greatest health. So I trade off doing things with my siblings for our parents as well. So that's a typical, but I love it. If I was at home bored, I would be pulling my hair out. I love being busy and I love, love, love what I do.
Yes, that's wonderful. We love that you do it. So, of course, I'm gonna try and get a sneak peek for the people. So let's see. What other projects have you been working on recently?
Well, Reading Magazine, that's a magazine my daughter and I started in 2015. Actually 2014, October 2014. We released the first one, January, MLK Day 2015. We have a special issue coming out in September called Ready to Vote. So I'm working on that project. All of our authors have turned in their articles. So we're getting that together. I'm working with the designer to roll that out. I'm working on the promotion for, of course, Inspire. Now that book is completed, but we're going through some last minute things just to see what's up with that. I'm working on another book that I was hoping that it could come out around the same time, Inspire, but I think I bit off way more than I could chew. And that book is called People, Prayer, and Politics. And that book hopefully will come out sometime in November or December. And then I'm working on putting together virtual classes for media journalist training on the digital platform. So I'm really excited about those things. And then my background, part of my background is that I've been in nonprofit management pretty much all my life. And I have been noticing things when it comes to the political landscape with protest or civic engagement or things like that. So I'm going to put together a curriculum for volunteer management. That's that recruitment, retention, and readiness. Because, for example, I've seen people do protests, and then after the protests, everyone's wondering what's next, and no one has an answer. So I've been very diligent on, since this is my background in this area of nonprofit management, to really bring that back to show people how to recruit volunteers, because those steps are still necessary, how to retain the volunteers, and then how to ready them like an onboarding process, so that people aren't just passing through, they're actually sticking with the program, and they know what's next, they know what to do, that there's templates in place. So I'm working on that, and I'm very excited for that. So those are some of the things that I'm doing now. And I'm excited about what's to come because there's so much more out there to do. So trying to think if there's anything else I want to anything else that I want to share. I think that's it for the most part when it comes to that. So volunteer management, um, the book, People, Prayer, Politics, Inspire. Don't forget, people can get that book immediately. Inspire, you can go to my website, which is www.gaildudley.com. And once you go there, you will see the book. It'll pop up Inspire right there on the top. You can order it. If you order it between now and August the 3rd, your name will go into a random drawing. That is an electronic random drawing, and we are gifting 4 $25 gas gift cards. And I think my team is also considering putting together some News in Motion merch as also other giveaways with that as well. So we're really excited about all of that. So those books, my website is there where people can pre-order Inspire. And the volunteer management piece I'm putting together.
That's great. I'm excited for the new things coming. So, what fun things do you do during the day or just that Miss Gail Dudley does? What fun things do you do?
Fun things. I love to travel, and then I love hanging out with my girlfriends. I have a good group of girlfriends. There's about 9 of us who are always hanging together. So I'm always doing that, and we are very good with accountability. So if we haven't heard from somebody in even a week, we're like, okay, where are you? Let's go meet up at such and such place. Let's go shopping. Let's go to the movies. Let's go do something. So I have a good group of girlfriends, and I love, love, love hanging with my son and daughter. My daughter lives out of town. My son lives in town. And then when she comes in town, we have a ball. But I have no problem going to meet up with her or whatever. Then my husband and I, we always have our date night. We'll be married for 31 years in November. So we always are doing something.
That's wonderful. 31 years and counting. We're so excited for you. So, who or what instilled values to contribute to your success so far as News in Motion just in life?
Let me see. Growing up, my father and grandfather, actually my parents as a whole, were always saying that whatever we decide to do, make sure we do it well. Make sure we don't quit because of difficulties or because we may think things aren't going our way. And I can give you an example. With News in Motion, our live views can go up to maybe at times 50 live views. And people will say, well, that's small. And you've been doing this for 2 years. Is it worth it? But then our replays are in the thousands. And then our actual reach on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube are in the millions. And so a part of me sometimes I can find myself getting discouraged, like, why don't those millions click on and follow? What is it that we are doing or are not doing? And I had to sometimes fight myself to say that's not the focus. Focus on the viewers who's having engagement and conversation. And I really wish social media would move to more engagement than how many followers, because you can have uh, millions of followers, but there's no engagement. And it's like, I don't think I want that. Um, so, there's times I could say, is this over? But then I hear that one person that says, my family could not wait to get on to get the recap of what happened the other day. And we knew that we was going to get the information, factual information from you. That one person keeps me going. And again, I believe that was instilled in me from my parents saying never quit just because it may appear that something's not going well. When I hear people say that, watching News in Motion, these are adults saying this is the first time they knew exactly what a filibuster is meant to do, and in the background and the definition and the three branches of government and so forth. I'm like, that one person keeps me going. So that comes again from my parents instilling that in me to keep going. The reason I mentioned my father, my grandfather, even when they would get downsized at their jobs, they would still fall back on painting walls or washing walls or doing janitorial work as their side hustle or their side business. And there were times I would go along with them and I would watch them, and they would instill in me as they were working, if you're going to do something, do it completely. Like I'll never forget this time, my dad said, Gail, go over there and grab those trash cans and dump them in the trash. And so I would go over there and I would like get two of the trash cans. Let's say there were four there. And he was like, well, where's the other two? And I remember saying to him, oh, there's like only a piece of paper in there. He said, no, cleaning means you clean, whether it's a piece of paper, a piece of lint, a rubber band, or whatever. And he gave me this long conversation over this. And I was like, I get it. He goes, no, I need you to make sure you understand. Never half do a job. Do it completely. So even when I'm researching for News in Motion, or if I'm researching when I'm consulting with somebody or doing a webinar or a workshop or whatever, I go so far. I have so much content that I always find myself going over, and I have to train myself to stay within that time. But I give way more information at times, but that's because it was instilled in me, never quit or never do a half job. So that I can thank my parents for that.
Yes, I think that's a great lesson that everyone can learn these days, especially the youth. But I guess you kind of covered the answer to this question, but who inspires you on a day-to-day basis?
Wow, day to day? Gosh. It's so easy for me to probably grab a celebrity, but if I'm honest, I think my husband inspires me from day to day. And I say that not because he's like always lifting me up, which he does that, but he also helps me see the other side of things, even in difficult situations. He'll even give me that tough or that hard conversation that I may not want. It's like, well, I don't want to hear that. But it's like later on, I realized just how important that conversation was needed. My children inspire me. And if I'm absolutely honest with you, the News in Motion family inspires me. Just to see their diligence. I mean, we have supporters who are still tuning in almost every day since day one. And I'm like, wow, you all really trust me that much. But they inspire me, not because they're necessarily tuning in, but because I'm seeing their growth also.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to interview you and share with the listeners more about who you are and what you do. You guys, please visit www.gaildudley.com to pre-order Inspire and to watch previous News in Motion broadcasts and to purchase merch. Also, follow Gail on Instagram and Twitter at Gail Dudley, and be sure to like and follow the News in Motion on Facebook at www.facebook.com/News in Motion. Thank you so much for listening, and please share this podcast with your friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors, as I like to say on the News in Motion family, baby kids. So,
I love it.
have a wonderful day. I hope it was as great as you. Thank you so much once again, Gail, and have a great one.
Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to interview me. I really appreciate it. And I want all the listeners to know that Lexi you're going into the 10th grade, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
y'all, did y'all notice how professional she is and how we just interchange without any challenges and everything. So I just want to say kudos to you and keep doing what you're doing. I think you are absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so much. It's because of you, I can be here right now and be able to sit here and talk to you guys and these wonderful listeners, part of the NIM family. So you're such an inspiration to me and plenty of other people like Isaiah and all of our youth. We're so excited to see what News in Motion is coming to do in the next couple of years. Prayerfully, we'll be all over the world, but it's all God's plan. So thank you so much for letting me do this for you.
Absolutely. Everyone, y'all know what I say. Stay well. Remember to make some bold moves. We're out.
Catch Gail each weekday on News in Motion on Facebook Live at facebook.com/News in Motion or her YouTube at youtube.com/Gail Dudley. You can also follow Gail on Instagram and Twitter at Gail Dudley and visit her website, www.gaildudley.com. Until next week, as Gail always signs off, stay well and remember to make some moves.